Hi friends, it's Suzanne here from sunstampin.com. I'm a Canadian Stampin' Up demonstrator. I want to welcome you to my weekly Wildcard Wednesday video on my blog and YouTube channel. The card designs I share today are a little more technique driven, but nothing too complicated. I also sell the products I feature in this video. I hope you enjoy my free video tutorial and would love to see you shop with me. For today's card, I am featuring the Painted Poppies bundle. In this bundle is the Painted Poppies Cling stamp set and the painted label dies. Right now I have an online class going and featuring this bundle, and I was having so much fun creating content for that class that it just kind of spilled out over into my regular online content. So if you're interested in the class that I've put together, the link is in the description bar below. However, today we are going to make some fun backgrounds. So I have some wax paper here, and they're just squares and they're a little bit bigger than the paper that I'm choosing to use. And I'm balling up this wax paper. Now, this is actually wax paper from the dollar store, so it's pretty thin actually. I have had in the past thicker wax paper, and I think actually thicker would do a little bit better. So once I was careful not to tear it, but I have sort of unwrinkled it. And then I'm going to put it into the embossing folders that I have to the left. There's the Swirls and Curls embossing folder. There's the Parisian Flourish embossing folder. And then there's the Tin Tile embossing folder. So and these are lovely embossing folders. I just ran them through my Big Shot. Some I actually needed a shim and some I didn't. It's just because they're different thicknesses, or the ones that I have, these embossing folders are a little bit different than each other. So what I've done here is I'm just using my Whisper White stamping weight paper, and I have two pieces, one on one side and the other on the other side. So I'm sandwiching the embossed crinkled wax paper in between two pieces of paper. And you can see how they're just slightly a bit bigger. The wax paper is just slightly a bit bigger than my actual paper. So I'm going to take my iron, and this was I'm on a board, sort of like my watercolor board. It has like a non-stick surface to it, a craft mat really. And so yeah, I heated it up with my iron, and the iron is on high with no steam. So is it a linen setting? I think that's the highest. And I just took my time, made sure that I got all of the corners, make sure I got it nice and hot. There's not really a time limit. You just want to make sure that, you're melting that wax into your paper. So I think this is called a wax resist, but we're going a little step further by embossing that wax paper. So you can see one last time I'm doing it, I just put that in my copy paper or my printer paper. And I'm wondering if you can actually put this through your laminating machine. I think that might work too, actually, if you have a laminating machine or a Mink machine. And that way you could try the different temperatures, because I know you can gauge the different temperatures with those kind of machines. Anyway, I didn't think about that. I just thought about pulling out the old iron. All right, I have my laminated grid mat here, and I have my sponge brayer, and I'm using gray granite for this first one. And there's one little tip if you are planning to do this particular technique, to make sure that the design is always facing up. Because sometimes you can't tell where the design is. So I made sure to make sure that the design side was up as I stacked my papers. That's just a little tip. I didn't learn from experience or anything. Anyway, you can see what I'm doing here. Oh, I'm brayering on a couple different colors. So one was gray granite, and then I'm coming in with some So Saffron, which go really well together. I really like that gray granite color because it does go with some of the more yellow colored, and it's not so cold. So it's a warmer color gray. And then I took a baby wipe that was not that wet. It had been sitting out, so it was a little wet, but not too wet. And I wiped off the ink off of the wax. And this is my second combination. This was Seaside Spray and Highland Heather. I love this color combo. So I'm just sort of like brushing on the main color. This is Granny Apple Green, and then coming in with Shaded Spruce just a little bit here and there to get a variation of color. So I'm creating a background. I don't want the background to be overwhelming in my card. And then by wiping it off with the baby wipe, I'm getting this lovely technique. All right, so I'm moving on to some of the embellishments for my card. I am stamping out the large poppy and then the smaller poppy. I didn't know how at this point how I was going to color them, so I did use Memento Tuxedo Black ink. But I find that especially the centers of these poppies, they don't really come out very bright. So if I had to do this card again, I probably would have used Stays On because it gives you a crisper black color than Memento. But it's always safe to go with Memento because you just never know. All right, so here I have, I've cut my little squares down. I think these were maybe 3 1/4. I don't go by measurements. I'm so sorry. I sort of eyeball things. And then the black mat should just go around it. I always find that if you are doing something like this, having a black mat there just really frames that color in, and it looks so good on my white card base. All right, so I'm coming in with this is a toothbrush handled makeup brush. I got it at Amazon. Everyone always asks, where'd you get that? I got it at Amazon. It was like the cheapest one that I could find. I think it was like $10 maybe, or $8. Anyway, and first of all, I sponged on some Grapefruit Grove on the big ones. Then I moved to Mango Melody on the smaller ones, and then pulled out that Shaded Spruce. And the nice thing, I kind of had yellow still on that brush. So I've kind of got yellowy, greeny leaves. And yeah, these brushes are actually fantastic for this fine work. I could have used it for the wax resist, but I found that doing a smaller portion is way easier with these guys. And here I'm bringing in just a little bit more Daffodil Delight. So I brought in another color, Daffodil Delight, and mixed it with that Grapefruit Grove color. And apparently someone has told me that these are California poppies. So I've never seen them in this color. In Canada, we usually use poppies for Remembrance Day. So I am pleasantly surprised at how many different colors poppies come in. All right, so I've adhered my little black squares with my background to my card, and then I'm putting my black circle and my poppies. The big one has just 1 layer of dimensionals, and the smaller one has 2 layers of dimensionals, so it pops up. I'm using glue to just adhere the leaves underneath, and then I am going to take some Wink of Stella, and I'm going around the poppy center. I don't like the fact that when I go over the ink with whatever color, without, like the blending and whatnot, that sort of dulls down the center. So by putting a little bit of liquid, I'm sort of wiping off the ink and I'm adding some sparkle so those centers become a little bit more bright. And you'll see in the pictures that I actually do use a rhinestone. So this is the Peaceful Moments sentiment. It says, life is better with a friend like you. And I am using Stays On ink for that beautiful crisp image. That is my share for today. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you're interested in that online class, I would love to have you attend. Link is in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. On screen are 2 more videos for inspiration. Click on the maple leaf for my blog, or click on me to subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching.